Best practices for Vermont State Parks accounting. Best practices for financial sessions. First, you should always use your own login for Aspira. Never share your login with anyone else. This is going to include making sure that you log out at the end of your shift or when you step away from the computer. This advice also extends to PINs. There may be times when regional management staff or business office staff may reach out to you regarding transactions that have happened under your login or that are tied to your PIN. If you have shared your login or PIN with someone else and we reach out to you with questions on certain transactions that you did not make, you will be unable to assist us or answer the questions that we may have. Next, notes are going to be required for certain actions in Aspira. This may include, but is certainly not limited to, closing financial sessions, making deposits, adjusting fees, etc. Any notes that you enter must contain your initials. These notes are important because they let us know that you are doing your due diligence when creating financial sessions, closing financial sessions, and creating deposits, etc. If for some reason fees are adjusted, for example, we are going to be looking in that note section to find out why those fees have been adjusted. Additionally, if there's a variance in your deposit, let's say you deposited $900 at the bank, but Aspira says it should have been $1,000, we'll be looking at those deposit notes to determine why the deposit variance exists. Financial sessions should be closed at the end of every day at a minimum. This is to ensure that any discrepancies, variances, or problems that may have occurred during the day are more easy to resolve and locate. Some parks may find it necessary to close financial sessions multiple times per day, for example, at every shift change. If you're unsure if this applies to you, just ask. Both your supervisor or the business office should be able to help. Best practices for transactions. Every transaction should be entered into Aspira. This includes sales, as well as donations, laundry money, shower money. Basically, any time any goods or services are exchanged, that transaction should be entered into the system. It is important that every customer gets a receipt. This helps protect our staff from any accusations about incorrectly processing a transaction or something as simple as providing the wrong change. In addition, customer receipts are valuable to the customer if they find that they need to return merchandise at a later date. Our preferred method of payment would be cash or card. However, checks can be taken as well. It is important to note that any personal checks are only to be taken for the amount of sale, and there are never any exceptions to this. Canadian cash and Canadian checks are not acceptable forms of payment. Best practices for refunds and voiding transactions. Aspira will always automatically process credit card refunds back to the original card used for the transaction. If the customer used a gift card or gift certificate to pay for their reservation or merchandise, their refund will go back to that gift card or gift certificate number. Check payments that need to be refunded can be processed as a gift certificate, or the customer can opt to have a check mailed to them. Cash payments generally are refunded via gift certificate or mailed check. It is important to note that if a sale was entered as general public instead of being tied to a customer in Aspira, the park staff processing the refund will need to email the business office with information including the refund ID, the customer name, the customer address, and the refund amount. The subject line of that email should be check refund. This is to ensure that refunds can be processed accurately and in a timely manner. Cash refunds are generally going to be an extremely rare occurrence. First, they can only be processed for same-day transactions. If a purchase was made yesterday and paid for with cash, we cannot refund that cash today, regardless of the amount. If someone comes to return merchandise that they purchased earlier in the day, we can process a cash refund if the total amount of the transaction is $30 or less. Voids are also going to be a rare occurrence and are only going to be used as a last resort when a reservation cannot be canceled. Notes with initials are required. If you have any questions regarding best practices, please reach out to the business office or your supervisor.